Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I, 28-year-old female, gave my boyfriend, a 28-year-old male, an engagement ultimatum, and I might be regretting it. And guys, this whole story is about a woman. She's 28, like she said, and basically, she's now ready to settle down. 30 is right around the corner, and that's an age that a lot of women are scared shitless of if they're not on their way to the altar in one form or another. Either definitely very close to an engagement, engaged, or in fact married, because it's that number that scares the shit out of a lot of women. And as I've told you guys before many times, at the end of the day, by and large, most women at some point do want to settle down. They want to settle down, they want to get married, have kids, all that shit, okay? Whether it be the biological clock going off, whether it be pressure from her family, who knows what it is. All her other friends are doing it. That's a very big element there. But whatever it is, eventually they do want to settle down. And oftentimes, many women eventually give guys a tactic that's used is the old ultimatum. Basically, marry me or get engaged to me, or that's it, I'm walking away and I'm out of your life forever. Okay? And a lot of times guys go for this crap, and it sets the precedent for just a bad relationship, a bad marriage. Not that they're not going to go bad anyway, statistically, but a lot of guys do this. So I'm doing this, guys, just so for you guys that are watching me now, there are relationship guys, because I know regardless of the comments I read all the time in the comment sections of videos that I do, a big chunk of the guys that watch me are relationship guys, okay? That's your business. That's fine, okay? So I want you to listen to this video and hear this from the perspective of this young woman, and that way then you are prepared in case this ever happens to you, because no man should ever give in to an ultimatum, especially in a situation like this. So I'm going to go into this article, guys, and I'll add my 2 cents along the way. It's very important lessons here to be shared. Starts off, my boyfriend and I are both young professionals in our late 20s who moved in together 6 months ago after graduating from professional school and relocating to New York City, to a new city for work. We have been together for 4 years and have had no issues adjusting to living together. We are happy together, want the same things out of life, and take excellent care of each other. Okay, so far so good. Okay, why screw up a good thing? And notice how she said that they've been living together for 6 months. And as you're going to see, now she wants to get engaged and is going to go crazy about that. What have I told you guys about moving in with your girlfriend? Right? All the great things you may have had before when she's chasing after you and treating you like the king, which she should, because I want you guys to become a type of guy that a girl wants to treat like a king by pursuing your goals and your ambitions and your purpose. You have a great thing, you move in together, and all of a sudden, the sex is less, she's not the same person, and she's pressuring you for the next step, getting married, okay? And there's plenty of other things I mentioned, guys. 6 months, she wants a ring. No joke. Just remember that, guys, before you think it's a great idea to move in with your girl, and it's going to be all magical, wonderful, okay? Can some situations be all right? Yeah, but by and large, it's not going to be the same. Anyhow, the issue is that I have known for a while that he is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and I would like to settle down and hopefully start a family soon. I have been in a serious relationship also that lasted 4 years before him, so I know what I'm looking for. On the other hand, my boyfriend is not in the same headspace as me about this for a few reasons. And this is all from her point of view, guys. We're not getting his side of the story. This is all her side of the story. Just keep that in mind. Number one, he was a late bloomer when it came to relationships, and I was his first real girlfriend. Number two, he has a hard time making decisions about everything from his job to what pair of shoes to buy. When we discuss the future, I am very clear that I am ready to settle down with him ASAP. This guy sounds, if he can't make up his mind, literally about the shoes that he picks out, and this is his first real relationship, I'm willing to bet you this guy, like she said, is a late bloomer. This guy may have been a mama's boy, or definitely a beta. So, and what have I told you guys about the girls? They ride the carousel for years, and they want to settle down with that beta because they're a sure thing. We got it here. It says here, he is also very clear that he loves me. He thinks that we have a great thing, but he wants to take more time to see where it goes. He also jokes about how he hasn't banged enough chicks. We had some serious commitment discussions last year when we were deciding whether to live after graduating. And I told him that I wasn't going to try to relocate to the same city as him unless we were engaged. So already she was trying to pull some ultimatum crap on him, but it didn't work. He didn't propose, and I stuck to my guns. Despite very slim odds, we both coincidentally found jobs in the same city halfway across the country. So we moved there together and got an apartment together. Now I'm starting to get fed up and hurt about this situation. It was causing a lot of stress for me, and that was the main point of contention in our relationship. She caused the stress for her, okay? This guy, through his actions, is making it quite clear he's not ready for anything serious. But in her mind, I put in these years with this guy. This is where I want to be. So, damn it, I'm going to make it happen. Whether I have to force him into it, manipulate him into it, ultimatums, whatever. Guys, this is the type of shit that's going to be going on in your girl's head. Especially you guys are in your 20s. Mark my words, this is the shit that's going in her head if she hasn't been married already. And watch out for those single moms anyway. I wouldn't even bother getting involved with them. Make that clear. But this is the stuff that's going on in her head. Just understand this. So in late September 2017, this article is a couple years old, guys. So in September 2017, I told him that when our lease is up in April 2018, I was going to move out unless we were engaged. He hasn't made a decision ever in his life without a deadline, so I figured this would help nudge him in the right direction. However, I'm starting to worry that he's not going to propose, mostly because he's telling me that he's not going to propose. Listen to him, lady. Now I'm regretting this ultimatum, and I think maybe it was stupid for ruining a good thing by trying to rush things. But it has been, and she has in capital letters, 4 years. Also, I worry that if he does propose, it'll be forced and he'll always regret it. Well, there you go. So she says right here she's regretting it now, realizing that it was stupid by potentially ruining a good thing. Because it seems like, take out her crap about I must be married by this such and such date and all this other crap. Take that out of the equation. It seems like they have a good thing. That's what it seems like, okay, again, from her perspective. But then she's going to that, I don't want him to do it, and regret it. Guys, let me make this clear right now. Never, ever give in to an ultimatum, especially when it comes to relationships or to a marriage. For you relationship guys, if you give in to an ultimatum, let me tell you what's going to happen. If you give in to her ultimatum, basically saying that I'm going to walk away forever unless you put a ring on my finger pretty soon, and you go along with this, let's just say up until that point, you had a good thing going, she treated you really well, saw you as a prize, all that, but for whatever reason, the biological clock, family pressure, Christ knows, she has to put this ultimatum out and a guy goes for it, that's when it's going to shift. That's when she is going to start losing respect for you in the sense that, well, I got him to do this, what else can I get him to do? And there's going to be testing. And because the guy obviously caved to this because he was fearful of losing her. Guys, the most important thing for you guys should be your purpose, your goals, your ambitions in life, not some chick, okay? And if you give up what you want to do for what she wants to do, it will bite you in the ass because you're not going to be happy because you're going along with her plan on her timeline, and guess what? She's going to lose respect for you, whether she realizes or not consciously, and there's going to be more bullshit. Mark my words. And two, you're setting the foundation for this marriage based on being, pushed into it, coerced into it. That's not a good thing. So, statistically, marriages, most of them are going to fail anyway, but you don't need to make it even worse with something like this. You walk away. You say, basically, hey, we got a great thing going. I'm not ready, but if you're going to do it, then you let her go. If she comes back to you, then you have the upper hand. If she doesn't come back, guess what? Who cares? There's plenty of other women out there, okay? The idea that there's only one woman for you in this whole world of women is absolutely insane. That's the kind of crap that is pushed by Hollywood and all the movies and TV or the romance novels or music or whatever, and a lot of people subscribe to. It's complete nonsense. Listen to me, a guy who's in his 40s, who's been there and understands this shit. Again, I'm addressing the younger guys who watch me here. Don't ever do that. And for any women that are watching this right now and they're thinking, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, here's the deal. Number one, you need to hang back and just let things be. And if you have a really good thing going, if you treat your man genuinely, you're genuine about it, like the king, like he's a prize. Eventually he's going to say, you know what, maybe I'm ready. And he'll do it in his time frame, because you don't want to rush things along. Or two, simply accept that maybe, you know what, maybe you don't have to be married. You don't have to do what society says you have to do. You don't have to do what grandma and your great auntie has been bugging you about because you're almost turning 30, okay? Who says you have to be married? You got a great thing going. Cool. Don't fuck it up. Or simply cry someplace else. This is a men's channel. But the point is, guys, don't give in to ultimatums. Anyway, she goes on the other hand, I gave him basically the same ultimatum last year during our job search. And he made it very clear that he'd rather end up in different cities, which, knowing us, would likely mean breaking up than get engaged. He's being direct with her. He's telling her flat out, and she's not hearing it. But they ended up in the same city, so he's like, all right, we'll move in together for whatever reasons. Again, this is her perspective. I like to think that I am being rational and empowered here. No, you're not. But am I being stupid and desperate? If he doesn't propose by April, should I stick to my guns and move out? Basically sacrificing this great relationship because I wasn't moving at my pace. See what she said right there? Sacrificing this great relationship because we weren't moving at her pace. Her way or the highway when it comes to this stuff. Who cares if you're 28? Who cares if you're turning 30 soon? Big fucking deal. You can have kids. Plenty to do. I know women that have kids in their 40s, okay? Obviously, assistance has to go along with it, but you want to screw something up because of your timeline? Come on, lady. Goes on now, she provides an update. There's a bunch of updates to this story, guys. She says, the boyfriend knew and acknowledged the ultimatum, and I tried to use this as a springboard to have a serious conversation about where he sees the future going. We did have some sit-down talks that really didn't go anywhere, and he told me to stop bringing it up, so I stopped. Good for him. We carried on for a little while, being our happy selves without mentioning the ultimatum. Part of me hoped he had a proposal planned and would surprise me. Nope. Now we are 10 days away from the March 31st deadline. She actually gave him a date. March 31st, 2018, to propose or she's walking. And watch what happens. She says, which I 100% plan to stick to. And he just told me that he wants to visit his parents in their home in September. And after the visit, he would then talk with them about our relationship and consider proposing around December. Part of me is so insulted and angry by this idea. First of all, I have met his parents before and actually spent plenty of quality time with them. So far, I like them and they like me. Well, not for long, lady. You keep this shit up. They live in a more isolated state that's hard to get to from where I live. Plane tickets are pretty expensive, would be a 2-day drive. I have suggested that I visit them multiple times, and we've had plenty of opportunities to do so. But my boyfriend was against it from one reason or another. The saddest thing is that we both coordinated time off work last week. We knew about the vacation for months and had plenty of time to plan. He told me that he was going to visit his parents and said that he was thinking about asking me to come with him, but kept it vague. I looked at flights, which were reasonable in price at the time, and tried to plan everything. But when I presented the information to the boyfriend, he would say, "Not now, I'm too busy," and put off planning the trip. Then, less than 3 weeks before the vacation, the boyfriend told me that I needed to come to his family's home with him on this trip. And if that didn't happen, there was no way he would propose. By that time, all the flights she'd been tracking have gone way up in price because the departure date was so close. It would have been financially very tight for me to pay for that flight. And honestly, I think what he did was crappy because he told me at the last minute what I had to do, instead of planning in advance like I had to try to do. So I thought it over and decided not to go with him. This guy obviously doesn't want to get married, but she just won't let it go. Now he's saying the reason he can't propose is because I haven't met his family in their home. Like I said, met his family a handful of times in the past. His family and my family have met each other, etc. He says that he needs to happen for his family to be okay with us getting married. This is some cultural crap that obviously she's talking about with him. She says if he had told me any time before the vacation was close and flight prices shot up, it would be fine. We had multiple vacations since I issued the ultimatum, and we could have gone to visit his parents then. I feel like this was the whole thing, was him setting up for me for failure. So he could not propose and then blame it on me. Not sure if it's relevant, but he is Asian American and I am white. He was born in the U.S. I asked him if he needed me to visit his parents' home before he proposes in an aspect of his culture, and he said maybe. I don't want to be culturally insensitive at all, so if anyone has knowledge about this, please share. Might be his culture. He was born in the United States, but obviously his parents probably were not, and they may have maybe something in his culture that they got to meet the parents in the house, or Lord knows what. But what's going on here is basically I see the guy just is not interested, but the guy also obviously is a hard decision maker at all. But still, he's made it clear he's not interested. And also, as I said before, this guy is obviously now he's a young professional. That's what she describes. And he's now coming into his prime, but she's been on her prime probably since she was a teenager, okay? She's ready to settle, but this guy's like, hey, I'm really not ready, You can't blame him. Now, I see that she's frustrated, and that's certainly one thing, but it's like, make a damn decision already. But, this is a men's channel, and I don't tolerate any kind of ultimatums or anything like that. That's why I'm doing this video, guys, and showing you what's going to happen and all this BS behind the scenes here. She goes on, now that we're 10 days out and he's realizing I'm serious, he spends all time together begging me not to go through with it. But he's not planning to propose. No man should beg. You never beg, guys. You never beg anyone, especially your lady. Now, I don't know if this is true. This is her perspective, but no guy should do that. No self-respecting man ever begs. And no one is going to respect you if you are that way, especially a woman. He says it doesn't make sense because he's telling me that he would propose in December, but he was willing to take the risk of losing me rather than propose by April. I see where he's coming from in a way. If we don't want to get married, but I can't do this anymore. Also, I think he's an adult, and I find it insulting that he's blaming this whole thing on his parents not meeting me in their home. They are asking him constantly what his plan is with me. They don't know about the ultimatum. And so I get the impression that they are just as curious about the future of our relationship as I am. I don't think they sat him down and told him I need to visit them before he can propose. But that's just a hunch. And now we're going to do an update with a whole bunch of different dates of by this date this happened, by this date this happened. Now we're really getting into it here. She says, March 2018, I couldn't go through with the ultimatum. Shocker. This guy stood his ground. Ultimatum didn't work and backfired on her. And this guy now knows that basically she's bluffing. I was planning to move out. I actually found a new apartment and wrote the check for the deposit. But when push came to shove, I couldn't picture my life without my boyfriend. I decided that I loved him too much to leave him over the arbitrary deadline that I had created. I also believe that he meant what he said about getting engaged in December. I felt I was being silly for leaving him after 4.5 years because I wouldn't wait another few months. You think? As a compromise, he said we could get a cat. I've been wanting one, but he's always been saying no. And he said that he'd go at least one family event with me this year. On March 31st, the day I was planning to move out, we got a cat together. See? He didn't give in. And no man should give in. Ever. To an ultimatum. Ever. Quite frankly, guys, any woman gives you an ultimatum about this type of scenario for you relationship guys that are young, you basically say, look, you don't give me ultimatums. We're not going to base our relationship and future relationships on ultimatums. Drop the ultimatum or I'm out of there. Or just simply, see ya. That's it. Because that's going to be her way of getting things going forward if you give into that. Now it goes on to April through September 2018. My boyfriend and I spent time enjoying each other without really mentioning the ultimatum. We both needed to recover from the damage it did to our relationship. The damage that she did to the relationship. Not what he did. She was the one doing the ultimatum bombs. Let's just make that clear here. I got a therapist and started working on myself. How many times have you heard that story? I picked up a new hobby, running, developed new friendships, and spent a lot of time working on my career and hanging out with my amazing new cat. I think focusing on myself, my career, my friendship took some of the pressure off of him. Also, multiple family events came and went, and my boyfriend had an excuse not to attend each one. I'm not sure it was that big of a deal anyway. By the end of the summer, we had been doing great, and it was like the ultimatum never happened. He also complains about our cat constantly. Well, I'm a cat lover, so fuck him on that regard. Anybody adopts cats? Awesome. September 2018, visiting the family. She just goes on and on with this story, guys, but I'm doing this again so you can understand what's going on in their head so that you can be prepared for this. September 2018. As I promised him, I went to visit his parents in their home in September. As I mentioned in the previous post, he is Chinese American and I am white. So I studied up on my basic Chinese and was able to speak, understand a little when we got together. It was a great trip and I generally enjoyed his parents and had a lot of fun in his hometown. I left a few days before he did so that he could have time to spend with them and speak with them about his plans for us in the future. I asked him a few times how that conversation went, and he said they are happy with us having a future together, but that getting engaged in December would be too fast. That seemed absolutely crazy to me, and again, it seemed like he was projecting his own views onto his parents. He also told me that I needed to learn Chinese before we got married. His parents speak perfect English, but prefer Chinese when they're with family, so I started doing Rosetta Stone. This girl is desperate. I mean, you can definitely say she's really trying to make the effort to get this guy and everything, but if this guy doesn't want to get married, obviously he doesn't want to get married, and he's just throwing curveballs there, like, do this, do this, do this. October through December 2018. Around November, I started getting antsy that my boyfriend was going to change his mind again. He was starting to show his pattern of making excuses. For instance, one day he casually mentioned that he couldn't propose by December because he needed to save money. We share finances, and money is not an issue for either of us. No, guys, you don't share finances. You don't have joint accounts with your girlfriend. No way. The only time you can have a joint account, pay attention here, guys, is if you, in fact, are married. However, that joint account is strictly for just enough money to pay the joint expenses, the mortgage, the rent, the electric bill, the cable bill, whatever. But the guy has his account in his name, and she has her account in her name, okay? Credit cards in his name, credit cards in her name. She doesn't have access to his credit cards, like a lot. You can have an account and have somebody else on the account. No. But before you're even married, sharing finances, you're out of your damn mind. Never do that. You want to save enough money, blah, blah, blah. Another time he freaked out that I have student loans, most people in my profession do, and I have a very secure job, good pay, and automatic loan payments, and demanded that he see a spreadsheet of my finances before he can consider having a future together. Luckily, I already had this spreadsheet, which I showed him, and he calmed down. She sounds like a very organized woman, and this guy sounds like a very disorganized guy. In the meantime, my friends and family were starting to ask questions about my future wedding. Here we go with the friends and family pressure. Although they had the best intentions, it was stressing me out because I was worried that after all this, there would be no wedding. Why do you have to get married? Why do you have to get married? If you say you have a really good thing going, who cares? The wedding will probably come later on down the road. This guy isn't ready, okay? Why screw up a good thing? Anyway, I worked with my therapist on letting go of that stress, redirecting my family away from relationship questions. I also created a no nagging rule in my mind. I stopped dropping hints, mentioning wedding, engagement, etc. with my boyfriend, didn't do much of it anyway, and I had learned my first lesson from the Ultimatum. We spent Christmas together for the first time this year, and I really thought he would propose to me then. But he didn't, and I didn't bring it up or pout about it. He visited his family for New Year's, and I was left in our city working, so it definitely didn't happen then. January 2019. I accepted that he didn't actually follow through with what he said he would do, despite me holding up to my end of the deal. I was the perfect girlfriend that he asked me to be, and I tried to use this as an opportunity for growth, both individually and within the relationship. And still nothing changed. I was still in the momentum of not nagging him and trying to suppress all of my thoughts of wanting to marry him. So she's a ticking time bomb, and she is ready to blow. No pun intended. It's now to the point that I equate my own thoughts of marrying him with shame and self-loathing, like they are bad thoughts that I shouldn't have. I realize I've been feeling so embarrassed with my own desires for my future, which is so sad. But a few things have happened in the past few weeks that have made me realize that this is all bullshit. First, one of my superiors at work offered me some great opportunities at my job if I stay on board long term. However, my boyfriend wants to think about moving us out of the city where we live in because we don't like it here. She says, I'm actually okay with it for the most part. He also has given a hard no to ever moving back to my home state. His reason? My family lives there and they annoy him. I started thinking, wow, this person is putting a lot of limits on my life for someone who still can't commit to me this long term. Well, if she's not happy with all this, if she's not happy with, then why doesn't she go? One has to question this. Then this weekend, I went back to my home state for the best friend's baby shower. Uh-oh. Once women start getting together for those things like baby showers and wedding showers, that's when they typically lose it, and that's when I got to get married, I got to have a baby, all that comes into play. She went to the baby shower. Also, I want to have kids. That's the main reason I am in a hurry to get married. Biological clock is ticking. There you go. You can have kids in your 30s. Relax. So yesterday I was hanging out with my friend and her husband, helping them set up the nursery, and I had this aha moment when I realized that it's okay for me to want to get married and have kids. There's no shame in having my own wants. And at this point, not having my wants desires been shut down by my boyfriend. And she says in parentheses, no marriage. We can't stay in the city where I had the job opportunities. We also can't live in my home state where my entire family is. But I've internalized this sense of shame about expressing or feeling anything that conflicts with his. So I'm starting to form a plan to move on because this dude is taking more of my life than he's adding to it. I'm hoping to get anyone's opinion, advice about the subject, blah, blah, blah. And the final update, she says, wow, thank you all for the great responses, blah, blah, blah. I spoke to my boyfriend last night about all this. I started by asking what his roadblocks are and where he sees the relationship going. He brought up the fact that it's moving too fast for his parents and some issues that he has with the relationship. Number one, that we don't make decisions together. The fact that I want to stay in our city for career opportunities despite him wanting to move next year. Also, sometimes I make plans to hang out with friends on weekends when he is free instead of us playing the weekends together. Number two, he worries about the fact that I get a lot of Amazon packages and he doesn't know what I'm buying. And she says he showed him my Amazon history. It's mostly household supplies we both use. And occasional supplies for my hobby, but that's like $20 a month max. He's rightfully concerned about her spending money all the time. Also, this is on my credit card, which I comfortably pay each month. So I don't think I need to clear every purchase by him. And three, he doesn't like that I'm chronically 5 minutes late to everything. And that's true and my own fault. Also, since I came up with a lot of the comments, I want to mention that he explicitly said that none of this has to do with cultural barriers or the fact that we're an interracial couple. However, after all this, he said he's not ready for marriage. He's been making that clear from the beginning. And his actions have made that clear, lady. And yeah, after all this bullshit, right? I was pretty pissed and told him I wished he told me this a year ago, so I could have moved on. He did tell you this. He told you through his actions. He told you through many different times before that. He basically tried to keep me around for another year so he'd be able to have more time to figure out if I was ready, or if he was ready. So I told him the relationship is over, and he is. So there you go. After all this shit, now she's finally walking away. But bottom line is this guy, and I'm going to be fair here, this guy sounds kind of like a flake and a pain in the ass. And again, this is from her perspective, he's putting the blame on the parents, or she said that he can't pick out his own damn shoes or make a decision. He's got issues there. But the bottom line is this, he doesn't want to get married. He's made it clear before. He says he's not ready. His actions have made it abundantly clear, but she keeps pressing on. And you saw the whole thing about the ultimatum in the beginning, and that didn't work. And I will say good for him for not giving into the ultimatum. He basically called her bluff, and guess what? She didn't go anywhere. But at the end of the day, guys, like I said in the beginning of the video, by and large, most women at some point, usually in the late 20s, are going to get very antsy about getting married. So you guys, this is the crap you guys can expect. Be prepared for, whether you are young, in your 20s, or later on in life, you got your shit together and now you're doing relationships and you got some woman, maybe she's younger or who the hell knows. You can expect in varying degrees things like this. Because trust me, this crap is going on in her head. There's the things with family, friends, society, religion, all that stuff. But the point of the whole story is, guys, aside from seeing what's going on in a woman's head, an example of that, don't give no ultimatums. Never ever do it. I made that abundantly clear, okay? Do what you want to do. You give an ultimatum from a woman, believe me, her respect for you goes down. And then there's going to be testing and bullshit. And it's not going to be the same as it was before. Even if before she saw you as a prize. It can change like that with a woman. and you marry a woman on the basis that she gave an ultimatum, basically that's setting this relationship, this marriage, at a very bad foundation. And that's just not good, given the fact that we know statistically most of them are going to end anyway. So don't fucking do it. So, all right, guys, I know it was long. Thanks for bearing with me, but it was a good thing to share. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.